Hey guys, welcome to another episode of my Martian Mission series. We're doing another launch here on our launch vehicle from last time as well. And we're launching another payload to Mars. So you can see we're doing our gravity turn here, fairly standard. Had to turn off those core engines as they were draining a little bit too fast. I think I made those boosters slightly too big. But you can see here we're just, pretty standard. We're about to decouple those side boosters, and here they go right now. We reactivate that center core and burn basically horizontal, straight. You can see this, we're just trying to raise our apoapsis a little bit before we coast on up there through time warp and finish our burn. Oh, you can see there I tried to raise it, just, make it 50 kilometers, just to make it look a little bit nicer. You can see here in our payload we have two big structural pads. Now, they may look like those are for like a landing pad, but that's actually not the landing module. That's just a structural piece to put other things on top of. And you can see there those docking ports on that one on the right now matches up with the docking ports on the bottom of the engines for our lander, and that is intentional. That is actually a docking station for all those for multiple landers that we can land and then put on there. And then that other one is designed to fit future modules that will be attached to this so that it's all one cohesive thing, but it's not just a bunch of modules sitting on the ground. Now, while I was talking there, you may have seen we did our Mars transfer burn, and then our Mars transfer, you can see here now, I'm just burning to have our trajectory go straight into the surface. I'm trying it this way here just because I think it might be faster. I don't necessarily think this is the most efficient route to take, but we have the fuel excess to do it if we transfer from those big tanks there. As you can see here, we're just burning carefully to make sure our apoapsis isn't, we're not going too fast when we hit the atmosphere, as I couldn't get the suicide burn perfectly correct. So we're just waiting a little bit until I get closer. You can see there we started that burn. Now we're going to wait some more before we get closer down to the ground so I can start the burn again. I'm not perfect here with my trajectory. We end up having to do use the parachutes a little bit to slow down. And we end up maneuvering a little bit in midair. You can see here I have to kind of hover my way over to the platform. I cut the parachutes so I can do it a little bit easier. And then we are just slowly lowering ourselves down to the launch pad that we put down before, and touchdown. A nice soft landing there. So now I'm transferring some of that excess fuel back into these. It will be necessary to power that drone on top because it has to use those tiny engines. You can see there we're undocking it. I had a little bit of issues there with it, not it being too heavy. So you can see here now we're making it. We picked up that first one, and we will carry it off to the side, off to the left there. Just past the truck, actually. And this is going to be the first module we're putting down. But this one, it's a little bit difficult. I was trying to figure out how exactly to do this. You can see here we kind of just end up, almost, it actually ends up falling over, but it turns out to be okay because the structural pieces are strong enough. We end up on our back, though, which is, it's a bit difficult to get off of. And just kind of going sideways and flipping over. And then I decided to get a little bit of extra fuel from this truck here just to help us out here. And then we go pick up the other one and move it over there. So this drone I actually have, I'm planning this one's going to stay here. It's pretty good for lifting heavy things, but it can't actually support itself with just RCS, which is a little bit annoying because it means you have to constantly be burning those engines. So we're trying to do some more fuel in there before I get on top to slide it along that way. You can see there we're hovering along there. I'm just trying to get it level over here. And you can see here, it doesn't really matter that if I got it level at all because we ended up moving it again. But I don't know that at this point. So I'm transferring the fuel, just consolidating it all into one tank and then refueling that one. So I decided here I'm going to go up over here, and then we're doing this next piece. So you can see here on the bottom here, the legs of this are actually docking ports. Now the plan here was to just dock this perfectly onto those two ports, but it turns out I made this a little bit too wide and it doesn't actually fit that well. So what I ended up doing here is just leaving it with one port a little bit too far. We ended up switching to the other one to leave space for future modules, and then I refilled both the drones here in this big tank with that bottom tank there. Now, I do decide to do one more thing here. I try to take this drone. I'm going to take it to just get rid of it. I don't plan to keep it. So I'm trying to put it on here. And then I think, well, wait a minute. We have some extra fuel left in this drone. let me move this over to that structural housing that we have for our rockets now. And it's a little bit tricky here. We don't have a ton of fuel. I just barely make it onto the ground before we run out. In fact, I try to move it over and we actually run out. So I have to do this weird thing with the legs where I kind of walk it over to the pad. You can see there we're basically just deploying and undeploying that leg until we're right on top of it. And then we can end up docking. So now I'm looking at the docking port on the left there, and I'm looking at our original landing pad. I have an idea here, and I'm not sure exactly how it would work. I transfer most of the fuel over to that big tank there, and I turn on all the engines and try to move this whole pad as a whole and all the stuff here using those two engines. We have just about enough fuel here. It's not as much as you would think. We end up docking pretty perfect. It ends up working out good enough though. Have to kind of tilt that up a little bit though, and we're not perfectly at the level now either. But it turns out we have a lot of fuel in that landing pad there I didn't even know about, so we can kind of consolidate all our fuel into one tank, and we almost have enough for one full of those, but not quite. Then I try to do one more thing here. I'm trying to back that car up onto the pad, but that doesn't really end up working. But that is actually the end of our video, guys. So I want to say thank you for watching. I want to make sure that you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.